Baby, she's nothing unless she can ride. I heard her say
one of the ideas I was thinking is kind of stereotypical for a band like ours, but I thought with this setting it might be cool, especially with the jackets and ties, is if you kind of set it up like we just came from a wake or something.
Okay, yeah.
And we just stopped at the pub after the wake, or we're waiting for the wake, and maybe the pipe's just sitting on the bar.
Sure.
You know, with a couple of pints around, and the guitar is just leaning up, like we're just hanging out. You know?
That sounds good. Why don't we start? Why don't we use that as a starting point?
Okay.
All right. All right. Cool.
All right. So we'll drag that stuff in.
All right. Fantastic. So that was a good. It's great to work with people. You know, music, dance, theater, arts, whatever it might be, because. I'm not saying anything negatively about folks who might be in a more corporate environment, but generally speaking, when you can rock and roll a little bit, literally, not playing on words, with people who are creative in and of themselves. So they're more than willing maybe to meet you halfway with a creative idea. If you want to, collaborate, there's usually a good field to play there. So that's good. We're off to a good start and a good foot. Not too bad. Not too bad. We're getting there. Got good group, got 4 guys. We set the scene pretty well, and now we just got to creatively place them in that scene, and that's part of the deal. That's one of the harder things to do about setting up a situation like this, is just getting the dynamic going and making sure that everybody's covered with a light and everybody looks good in the picture, and everybody's placed in the same kind of scale. So that's part of what the next step is going to be. The basic lighting is in place. I am going to tweak the foreground lighting when we do get a placement going. That's the 2 steps that are very closely related. We have this as a safety. This is a 900, okay? It's running on SU4 mode. What we're going to do, shut it down for now. This is just a reserve light, a safety light that I have up. If I've got some low shadows or some eye shadows, what I can do is I can put this at camera as a giant kind of fill light, a giant on-camera flash, basically. And I'll just kind of pop a little light at them, and it'll be really low power. So that's part of the strategy. You try to anticipate where the problems will come from and have things standing by, because you get people together, they want to move, they want to move fast. They definitely want to move fast. So do our best. Camera angle is going to be over here. Okay. My first thought is to kind of let you guys arrange yourselves almost however you want to do it, and just let me see how that looks and feels. And then if I need to change things with camera necessity, I'll do that.
Okay. But we'd be facing this way?
Yeah.
We'd be facing the bar, right?
Well, yeah,
Like this.
Yeah, kind of hang out. But you can, I think your attention should be probably off the camera, okay, and sort of towards each other, just kind of hanging out, after the the wake or wherever we just came from. Okay. I like the idea of the title of the CD, "Time Is the Enemy." I think that's a very cool title, actually, because that is a truism, I can tell you.
Baby, she's nothing unless she can ride. I heard her say once she'd rather die than sit around the house and getting high. But baby, she's nothing.
So there you go. We're gonna, the very first thoughts on location are basically everything went to, not in a bad way. Just like it's the curves that you get dealt with. Everybody looks good right this way. My light was predicated over here, and it makes more sense to do that. Do you guys need a hand, or you're all right?
Yeah, we're okay.
All right, here, let me pull this back. Because we do have a lot of light now coming from the windows. Yeah, let's move that out of the way. Okay. Hang on. All right. Let's put this one a little bit out of the game here. Okay, guys, let me sight this and make sure it's clear. All right, a little bit, just tip, yep, nice. Okay, let's pull it back a little bit now. Pull it back, and let's tip it a little more frontal. Now let's lower just a touch, please. Okay, cool. Let me see if I still have clearance. Okay, yeah, I've got that in frame, so go back up. Keep going.
Well, the reason I bought it is there's no pins, man.
Just take a look here. Got a little bit of a dead area over here. So I'm just going to kick a little light off the floor from this area, just dish a little light into the low part of the bar. What the thing about light in a situation like this is you're trying to define the area and you're not really lighting it. I don't really view it as lighting it. I'm viewing it as kind of, you know, enlarging the frame and defining what's in it for the viewer. It gives the viewer a little more richness and texture and detail to kind of feast their eyes on a little bit. If I let this bar just go completely black, then nobody's going to look there. And it's like they just pass right over it. I don't want to draw too much attention to it because I want their eyes to stay on the guys. But I don't want, you know, like the guys can't float. You know, they have to be defined and in a space, and that space has to be in measure lit in accordance to how important or how not important it is in the frame. All right, just for the sake of argument, look at the camera just for a sec. Let me see how this is all piecing together here. Looking good? That's good. That's actually really nicely lit. Yep. Nicely lit. All right, you guys are doing great. All right, perfect. Here we go. Looking good, looking good. Perfect. Reason I'm in between frames, I'm not like really gunning it, is the lights outside are full power, so it takes them a second to come back or so. Yeah, we got lights out on the sidewalk. That's what's creating all the light that's lighting the jerseys. You know, so that's why it looks like early morning daylight. They have warm gels on them, so it looks like there's early morning light pouring through the bar. Cool. All right, here.
We're gonna re-up on it.
Cool. Let's just see how we do here. One of the things I do during the course of this type of a thing is I just double check my sharpness, you know, to make sure we're in good shape. We're at f5.6 for a group of 4, but I'm also shooting pretty wide, so I'm right on the edge of being successful there in terms of depth. I think we have enough. The camera's set up at 125th of 5.6 on manual. It's being driven, or the camera's driving the lights with a radio signal. The radio is transmitting signal to the Elinchrom Rangers that are outside. Both of those Rangers are pretty much full power, getting close to full power anyway. We're blasting them through the windows. They have gels on them. Looks like warm early morning daylight. And that's the feel that we're trying to create, because the guys here, the band, wanted to do something that kind of is reminiscent of having been at a wake. Their new CD is Time is the Enemy. And it's great. And the mood of this should be like, hey, we just kind of lost so-and-so, you know, and at the bar, just having a beer, you know, whatever it is, 9 o'clock in the morning, you know. You know, I've been here since 9 o'clock in the morning, so I'm hammered. I've had 4 Guinnesses, so, you know, lighting this is, everything looks good to me now. But we got kind of a hard light, and not the most, say, quote-unquote pleasing light for the foreground. 2 SP900s, zoom to 200, going through a last light panel. It's kind of collective and punchy, you know, kind of try to keep it, you know, just around the group and not spread it all over the bar. Sort of successful. And then we put a little kicker light on the floor just to define the floor, bring that out a little bit. We put a couple of kicker lights in the back of the bar just to define the far reach of the wall, because that was really going black and just dropping out of the photograph. And then, of course, the main push of the light comes through the windows, and we're filling them from the front. Looks good. Looks good. We're getting there.